So today I just wanted to talk a little bit about like FOMO and my personal experience. Someone who's had BPD and is doing a lot better, but still I feel like FOMO is one of those things that like people play it a lot with humor and stuff. And like when social media was just getting popular and stuff, they popularized that word like fear of missing out. But like I feel like it's like using humor doesn't really give it like the justice that it deserves. Because for a lot of people, like it can be like a seriously like not like debilitating, like just emotionally really upsetting, you know what I mean? And like, man, I know I've come such a long way. Like when you're in the throes of BPD, even friendships, like your fear of missing out can be, as strong almost as like, obviously not your favorite person, but your favorite person can be, just can be someone that you're not in a relationship with. So, like, I just remember, like, my best friend, if he was going to do other things and stuff, or, man, I've come so far, but, I know that for a lot of people that are in the midst of that, or even just regular people who don't have BPD, like, fear of missing out, it's almost like, it feels like a betrayal, and it like shouldn't, but it's like in your rational mind that it's like normal for your friends and stuff to hang out without you sometimes. But for so many people, it's just like, and myself included, obviously, because I'm a human being, but like it feels like a betrayal, but there's like no, you know what I mean? Like, and sometimes, like there can be real like things there where like, if they didn't invite you on purpose or something like that, like, but a lot of the time, the majority of the time, FOMO just happens when, there's really, you were either working or you're going to school or you had chores or you couldn't go out, you weren't feeling good, you just were not feeling social or something, and you stay home. And like for me, I'm a person who on my like, literally like, I'm like, half the time I'm introverted. I love to read and be alone and watch movies by myself and be alone, but I also like to be out. So I'm like, I literally took a personality test before and I got like 50% introverted and 50% extroverted. So sometimes I feel just like more antisocial and aloof, and I just don't really like feel like going out. But then at the same time, I'm like, I always have this like thought, and it's a lot better now. It's hard to explain how it's so much better, but like it's happens very rarely. Like I, well, let me give a personal example. Like you have these thoughts for a lot of people with FOMO, like, what if they're having more fun without me? And then like they realize like, a lot of us nowadays, especially like with social media and stuff, it's hard to make friends, it feels like, and like you don't have so many friends. So if your friend group is without you, you're like, well, what if they all have more fun without me? And then they're like, oh my gosh, well, we don't need this person around anymore. So then those thoughts are playing in your head. And like exposure therapy, I feel like it's like you have to just take that risk. That's really the only like, especially for like, I'm talking about fear of missing out with like, friendship groups, and social scenarios. Like I just remember, or like you feel like they're going to forget you, and it's almost like a little abandonment, and it just triggers that BPD thing. I think it's definitely worse for people with BPD, but like I can remember they were all hanging out without me, and I'm just like, okay, I just have to deal with it. Like, just, it's hard for someone with BPD to like know that even we don't have object permanence. Like that's a big thing. So like I just remember in the past, like and they're like, if I'm not with them, they're not thinking about me. It's abandonment. They're not going to like me. They're going to forget about me. They're not going to want me around. And next time they're not going to want me there. Or if you have to cancel because you're not doing well emotionally, you feel like, oh my gosh, then next time they're not going to even ask me and all this stuff. Not true. And I can just remember like, I'm like, well, I'm not going to go to this thing, and then I'm going to stay home, and then, maybe we're hopefully, like, this is someone I've been best friends with for like 7 years, and it's like, I still have this thought, like, what if he forgets me, or what if I'm too much, and then they realize it's so much chiller when I'm not there and all this stuff. And then I just remember the next morning he sent a text like, do you want to play on the game? And I'm like, oh my, like, he didn't forget me. Like, really just exposing yourself to it. And, because a lot of people, and I've talked to a lot of people, and myself included and stuff, sometimes we rush around to like do everything and be there at every little thing because we have this fear of missing out, like, you know, and it, because it makes you feel good to be with your friends and have fun, but then, you know, you just want that social interaction and stuff. And that's good to be social because it can be good for you to have good friendships, but at the same time, sometimes it can be like maladaptive when you feel like you have to do things. Like you have to. If you miss it, you know, it's like you can't, or else you have FOMO. So yeah, really, I would just like, it's hard because for a lot of people with DPD and stuff, you can't imagine that like, you know, they're going to be there and you're not going to be there and they're going to be having a good time, but you're still going to be their friend at the end of the night. Like it's going to be done. And then the next day's going to roll by and then you're still going to be their friend. And I've made leaps and bounds with my FOMO. I feel like just like really just being like, I have to, like, it's going to hurt right now to be like, I can't do this thing. I just can't, whether for financial or travel or whatever, you have something going on, like I can't do this thing. And then waiting until the next interaction that I can go to and being like, okay, will this still happen? I'm still here. I'm still friends with them, even though that didn't happen. But just like, yeah, you hear from so many people, like it's such a big thing nowadays too, because of social media. Like before, you know, it wasn't as, I don't know if it was not as big. I don't really have like, I don't know in the 80s or something, you know, because I wasn't alive, but it just seems like now that we're more interconnected in certain ways and less connected in others, like it just seems like, you know, especially for it's popular like middle school and high school, like if everyone's going to this thing and you're not there, like you're almost like don't exist as a person, or like you're not exist socially and stuff. And like I can tell people, like as someone who was like not super popular in well, people say I was popular, but I never felt popular. And as someone who like didn't go to too much stuff in high school and stuff, I still like have such solid friend groups, and like after high school and like everything worked out perfectly fine without being like the most like go to all these parties. I don't think I ever went to like barely a party in high school, but yeah, so it all worked out. And just trusting it, like trusting people that if someone's friends with you for like a long period of time, like, you know, 6 months or more, they like you for you and they like you're a valued part of their life. And just because you're not there for a certain thing doesn't mean they're gonna like magically forget you. But it's easy to like think like that when you have BPD because it's like your worst, you know, your worst gut reaction about people and impulses, but it's not true. And if you just expose yourself to it 9 times out of 10, like you realize it was just, you know, ill-advised. So yeah, I'm just talking about it.